is being recorded. And
And
we're going to ask you to leave. So hopefully you don't choose to leave and you choose to stay so you can get some great information. So thank you for participating in that icebreaker. As I told you, you're going to get a lot of information. And guess what? I talk super, super, super fast. I know it. I try not to, but I get excited because I have so many things that I want to share with you. So I've got my little trusty friend, the AI companion, listening in on the meeting. If you go to your little toolbar where you see your mute, you see your camera button, you will see something new called an AI companion. That AI companion is listening even when you're not. So if you miss something or you have to go and make a quick little pit stop and come back, you can actually click on the AI companion and ask it a specific question about anything that we've covered here. But don't worry, see, the AI companion just kind of takes notes and catches you up on things. But it can't answer the things that I'm going to tell you. So we'll only tell you the things that it heard. But if you miss something, don't worry. I also have not one, but two note takers that are both AI related that are taking notes while we're talking. What that means is that they're going to be able to take all the notes that you may have missed, and you will actually get a transcription of everything that was said and presented along with the slides after this is over. Takes a couple hours or so, which means it'll be past my bedtime for you to be able to get the information, for it to get to me, but I will make sure to send that out this weekend so that way you can get set up for success. If you raise your hand, I will go over and check it every now and then, but I will have points where I stop, just so you can ask your questions in the chat. I am moderating that as well. So hopefully everybody can still hear me. Somebody put a yes in the chat if you can still hear me. All right, thank you so much for that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do a little bit. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna do a little bit of an introduction of myself because you're probably like, who's this lady? My name is January Lewis. I am a pharmacist by trade. I like to tell people I was born and raised in Oak Cliff, Texas, from pretty much the Singing Hills area, way back in the day, but we're not gonna go that far back. I attended Skyline High School and graduated in '94. And I put that out there. You're gonna see a trend. And there's a reason why I'm going to tell you all these things about me. I was a senior class president, the FHA president, FCA president, and Mu Alpha Theta president, all at the same time. I went on to attend Xavier University and received my doctor of pharmacy degree in the year 2000. There I served as the treasurer, the homecoming chair, the Kappa Psi fraternity president, and then I was also Miss Xavier University of Louisiana. I returned back to Dallas to work at Walgreens, where I was a pharmacy manager, a district pharmacy supervisor, and then I retired after being an infectious disease and transplant clinical pharmacist with Walgreens at UT Southwestern. I retired in 2018 and started Oxygen as a way to invest in my community, and I specialize in illusion concept management. So you may be saying, lady, why did you tell us all about your history? I'm going to tell you why. I have always been organized. It is just how I keep up with my life. So if you wonder, how can somebody do all those things at the same time? It's not always easy, but the answer is you have to work smarter and not harder. And if you're organized and you have the right tools and resources at your disposal, it makes life a lot easier. So that's what we're going to talk about today is how we're going to get you set up for success in your small business by giving you the tools and the resources that you need to succeed. So now we've got our trusty AI companion taking notes for us. Let's go ahead and let's have a talk. So I wondered, and yes, I'm going to ask you to put a lot of things in the chat. Why? Because you can't really scream them out. So let's put them in the chat. Tell me, why does having the right tools and resources matter? Anybody have any ideas? Who cares about the tools and resources? What does that even do for you? Any thoughts? Put them in the chat. Hmm. Did I stump you? Saves time. It makes jobs easier and takes less time. So that's too about time. Saves money. You will be more likely to succeed when you are prepared. Keeps you from making mistakes and losing money. So I hear a lot about time and I hear a lot about money. You guys are absolutely correct. iPad number two, do me a favor. I don't want to call you iPad number two. Put your name in the chat so I know who it is. All right. And Michaela says to avoid unnecessary challenges. So I'm going to tell you, having the right tools and resources does matter. Why? Because it conveys professionalism. And we all want to deal with the person that we feel is professional versus somebody that we're kind of side-eyeing. Like, is this really who I want to do business with? It also saves time. So everybody who put in the chat, it saves time. You are absolutely right. Because again, you can work smarter and not harder. And whoever said it was going to save money, it sure does. You know what happens when you wait till the last minute to try to do something? You end up wasting a lot of time and you typically have to pay a lot of extra money. And then it also keeps you just staying competitive. So I told you guys that my company specialized in something special. And I bet you nobody caught it. Let's see. Can anybody in the chat tell me what I said that my company specializes in? It's trademarks. You can't keep it, but I just wonder if you caught what I said my company specializes in. Let's see who was paying attention. Okay, you got 2 of the 3 words. There was one more word right before. Okay, well, somebody, put them together. I feel like I'm playing charades. First word, second word. All right. No, you guys did a great job. I specialize in illusion concept management. What? All right, illusionary. That was close enough. I'm glad it wasn't Illuminati. You almost scared me with that one. But no, I specialize in illusion concept management. What that means is people bring me their dream and I help them live it until it becomes an actuality. So I like to say it in street terms. I help people fake it till they make it. All right. Have you ever heard that term before? That's exactly what illusion concept management is. It's me getting you to appear as if you are on par with your competitors so you have a fighting chance. Think about it. How often do you go to a small business when you could go to a larger business that you know is professional, it's going to save you time, it's probably going to save you money? You are being an average consumer, and that's what people do. Okay. How do we hire you? That part might come up in just a little bit. All right. So that being said, I'm going to teach you guys how to fake it until you make it. All right. So there are some opportunities that are big. And although I can't go over everything, Jasmine, I'm gonna give you some free nuggets tonight. I know people always say that, but these are better than chicken nuggets. These are better than Cane's fingers. These are gonna fill your soul. All right. We're gonna focus on 4 areas: organization, communications, marketing, and we cannot finish without finance. All right. So those are the things that we're gonna talk about. And I'm not gonna go over specifics because everybody's business is different. But the things that I'm going to show you are going to pretty much work in any business until you get to a certain level to where you don't have to fake it anymore because you've already made it. And when you're at that point, my job has been done. So let's start off with the thing that I love the most, and that is organization. So this is what I want from you to know that you guys aren't asleep and that you're paying attention. Every time something stands out to you that you do it or you don't do it, I want to hear about it in the chat. I can multitask. So if you do this, if you argue that, let me know. Because sometimes if you're all already on it, I don't want to preach to the choir. So I don't want to belabor the point. But if you guys aren't really doing that, and then maybe I need to do a little bit more explaining. Okay. So if I say something and that's what you are, I'm on it. I do that, or I do this, or I use this company. Let's all share and share together. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is using an electronic calendar. I live by my calendar. My friends are always saying, what are you doing on? At 3:30, I have this till 4:15. Then I have to drive here at this time and do this, and that. People are like, what? How do you know all of that? Well, because I put everything on my calendar. And people go, well, that seems like a lot of work. It's really not. It's really easy. And what will happen is when you put it on your calendar, you're more likely to do it. How many times has somebody invited you somewhere? And then the day of, they call you or somebody's like, hey, are you going to such and such's birthday party? And you like, that's today? At what time? You didn't get your hair done. You don't know what you're going to wear. You might not have your money right. You may have agreed to go somewhere else with somebody else. So you need to put things on your calendar. And your calendar is not just for events. It's also reminders. And when your bills are due or tasks, I literally have on my calendar, I know this is going to sound bad, to call my mama and ask how church was. Because I will forget. And if I don't catch her when I have free time, she's going to catch me when I don't. And I got to sit there and listen. So you can put all kinds of things on your calendar. And it's not hard. All right. So we're going to go through that. Making an event. A lot of times, okay, people will send you an email and it'll have a date or it'll have a reference in the email. Your email is smart enough to know that they're trying to get you to do something. So here's an example on this screen. And it says, hey, for those of you who can't come today, well, when is today? This is a today. So when that email comes to you, you literally can click on the word today and it will actually pull up a calendar invite so that today at 6 o'clock or whatever time the email says, it can remind you of that particular thing, even if it's 3 or 4 months in advance. And this works. Go through and put people's birthdays on your calendar and set a reminder for a week before or a day before. That way you look like a hero. Because I'm gonna tell you honestly, if it wasn't for Facebook, I would miss all y'all's birthdays. I just can't keep up. But once I started putting them on my calendar, get this, I do it one time, and every year it reminds me so I never forget. I'm telling you, and I shouldn't say this in case I know one of you guys personally. I have it set to go out because I'm a night owl at like 11:59 at night. So then I hurry up and I text the person and I say, hey, I just want to be the first one to tell you happy birthday. No, I didn't remember, but my calendar did. Right? So not just that, but calendar invites. And somebody actually put it in the chat. It's not just the calendar, but everything, the important stuff. And some people say you don't put everything in your calendar. Put everything. Why? Because it's not just events, it's to-dos and reminders. Tell y'all a little secret. This has nothing to do with being organized. Okay. I have satellite radio. Won't say what kind. Hopefully there's more than one. But every year I sign up for a plan, like a promotional plan. And every year it ends after 12 months and my price just skyrockets. So you know what? I have a reminder in my phone to call the satellite company and say, hey, I need to cancel. Okay, and I always do it like a week before it's supposed to renew. And they go, why do you want to cancel? No, I had a promo, but the price is about to go up. So I know if I wait until it's over, I can't keep the price. So just go ahead and cancel. Well, no, let us extend it for another year. Since you did, it's not like it renewed. So since you're still in the same trial period, we'll just renew it for another year. Been doing it since 2012. And how do I keep up with it? It's on my calendar. Why? Because I can set it once and I can forget about it. And then I can even invite other people. Why? Because my same mama who wants to talk to me all day about church, she's got a radio too that's satellite. So I have to remind her not to forget. They were done on the exact same day. So now her answer is, baby, just pay for it. I don't have to remember. But my comeback to that is, no, ma'am, here's a calendar reminder so you can do it on your own. Okay? And now you don't even have to have, and we'll talk about this, you don't even have to have a Zoom option because a lot of these calendars have a built-in virtual meeting option for you for free. Google has Google Meets. Yahoo lets you use Skype, or maybe that's Outlook. But a lot of these, if you use your calendar, okay, it'll even give you the opportunity to do video conference and you don't have to pay for anything. Okay. Plus, you can send key details and all your documents in one place. That way you don't have to go back trying to find stuff. So when somebody sends me something, I attach it or I cut and paste it right into the calendar invite. That way, when it pops up, I know what they told me I was supposed to bring. I know what I'm supposed to wear. I know where I'm going. And maybe I even have a document that I was supposed to fill out and print, to bring to the meeting or whatever it is with me. So I have an iPhone, all right? And I'm checking the chat. And I honestly, I use all of them because I'm a calendar hoe, okay? But the iPhone has a calendar, but I also have a Gmail calendar, okay? And I needed them to talk to each other, all right? Because they're a little bit different. And I love the Google Calendar better because it also allows me, since there are so many people who have a Google Calendar and businesses use it, I can often check if that person has their availability turned on and see when they're free. That way I'm not asking them to meet me on Friday at 3 o'clock if they're going to be busy. I know that I need to schedule for 4:30 because that's when they're free. All right. So I do have one my business uses, and I'm going to tell you about that when we get to that section. But the key is start off with one of them and then tell them to talk to each other and they'll all work. All right. Remember, calendars keep you on point. All right. Now, for some of y'all that are big time, all right, you may be in businesses where people need your time. I am in a business where people need my time. I'm a strategic consultant. And no, I didn't go into too much about what I do, only because I don't want you to think I'm trying to sell something to you, okay? But Oxygen is a strategic consulting agency. Literally, when people ask me, so what do you do for a living? I say, I tell people what to do. Literally. Okay. And if you know me, you know my personality. That's something I've been doing for the longest. And so now I can get paid to do it, but I've got to know what I'm talking about. So people want my time. And all the time they go, hey, are you free next Thursday? No. Are you free on Friday at 2? No. And so the back and forth, by the time they get back to me, the times they're asking about were free, but they're not free anymore. So I use a booking system, and booking systems do not have to cost you a thing. That's right. So most of the things I tell you about tonight are going to be free until you get to a certain point that you are using so much of the system, you need an upgrade. Okay. So all of these solutions that I'm showing you are scalable. Scalable means you start off at one point, but as your business grows, these solutions can grow with you. So I have three that are on the screen right now, and I'm going to go through each one of them. The first one is, I can never say this word, so I'm sorry, Calendly. Okay. And so basically, that one allows you to set an appointment and people can book a set period of time with you. So it integrates with the calendar, whichever one you use, and it can tell that you're booked on these certain times and days. But if you tell Calendly, I will let people talk with me Monday through Thursday, because I'm off for the weekend, between 10, because I sleep late, and 4, because I got to leave and go out that night, then it will only allow them to book during those times of 10 and 4, Monday through Thursday. But if you've already got something booked, it'll tell them they can't pick that slot. Now, the free version only allows you to have one type of meeting, which means it's a 30-minute meeting or a 60-minute meeting or a 15-minute meeting. That's it. If you pay for it, you can have multiple meeting types. But if you do this and you set it up with Calendly, you just give them your link. They go, they click the link, they find what's available, and it books with them and books with you and sends you guys reminders. And you can even attach your Zoom or whatever meeting app you had, or you can just use the phone. Now, another one that works really, really well is called Acuity. Now, this one comes out being on the high end, depending on what you use it for. But if you are a stylist or somebody who has a lot of services, Acuity may be one thing that you want to consider, because that allows you to schedule all of your appointments. And whether it's getting lashes, full lashes, a pedicure, a manicure, a gel manicure, you can have a bunch of different things and you can set it for a bunch of different increments, and people can add on. Oh, I want to get my hair washed, but I also want to get some color. So can you add 15 minutes? I also want to get some this. So can you, and it knows based on what all they're adding on, how much time that's going to take, because you told it. And then it's going to say, well, you now need 3.5 hours. You only can pick Tuesday or Friday for that 3.5 hours. So Acuity gives you some scheduling flexibility. And the last one is Zoho Bookings. I use Zoho Bookings. It allows me to pick a bunch of different types of things that I can do and to coordinate everything. So people can go on. And I'm going to tell the truth. I even have one of these for my friends. And you may be thinking, no, you don't. Yes, I do. Because if they need me, say they just need to tell me something real quick. Instead of calling me while I'm on a Zoom webinar, they can actually go on my booking link and they can say, I need 15 minutes to gossip. That's not what it says. It says spill the tea. But the point is, they get the point. Or maybe they want to go and we want to plan a day trip somewhere. So they'll look and check my calendar to see what weekends I'm free. Now, you have to be careful, because what you put in is what people put out or what people get out of it. So I messed up and I had a space on my personal calendar called quality time. It was meant for somebody special. It wasn't meant for just anybody. Well, I have a friend with 5 kids. And she booked quality time for 12 hours on a Saturday. And I was thinking, well, what are we doing? She dropped her kids off and told me I was babysitting. So be careful what you put on your calendar, because you may need to go back and clarify what that person's expectation is. But did I have to get involved in that? Absolutely not. I did not. I just set up my booking system. And believe me, if I want to go, if I don't want to be bothered on a Friday or I have something else to do, I can block the day off and not have to worry about it. So let me ask you this question. Is there anyone here who possibly could use a booking system in their business? Maybe anybody who needs to do consults or who needs to take new clients. Anybody? All right, Jasmine, I see your hand popping up. Jasmine has raised her hand, says she definitely can use it. Okay. So anybody else? All right, put it in the chat. That way you don't, iPad said they can use it. That way you're on my video, but it's okay. It's fine. But I see somebody says they use Calendly. Okay. So Sarah, Calendly is really, really great. I don't know if you use the free version or the paid version, but I always encourage people to shop around. So there's going to be some things I tell you at the very, very end that you'll see all these things come together. All right. So glad to see some of you guys are using it, and I'll move on to the next thing. Now, one of the questions in that poll asked if you always wrote everything down, because you could take your notebook with you everywhere. My clients will tell you I fuss when they pull out some paper. And the reason I fuss is because it never fails that when I need to know something from them and I call them and they're not at home, they always say, I got it. I wrote that down. It's in my notebook at home. So I am a fan of using an electronic notebook. Why? Because you can bring multiple notebooks with you because it's in your phone. Okay. Even if your phone dies, you can sign in on somebody else's phone. You can get to it on your iPad. You can get to it on your laptop. And what's great about it is you can make it be as many subjects as you want. You remember those 5 subject notebooks? You can always have different subjects for different things. And if you're writing something and you forget something, well, on a piece of paper, you have to write it at the bottom and then draw that big old arrow up to the top and say, hey, you know what I'm saying? Way up at the top, this is where I want this to go. All right. Well, we don't want that. All right. We want you to be able to have everything that you need right at your fingertips instead of trying to look all around the paper for it. So with an electronic notebook, you can literally click where you want the note to go and say add white space, and it'll move everything else down so you can put the notes in order. All right. Not just that, but things come alive in the notebook. You can put in a web address and tag it as a web address. So then if you're looking for it 2-3 months from now, you can go, where are my web addresses? And it'll pull up a whole list. Contact information, phone numbers. You can put pictures and files in there so that everything is in one place so that you can automatically see it. So personally, I like OneNote. OneNote is free. You can make a notebook. Every one of my clients has their own OneNote. And what we do is we'll work on things. I'll leave them with some things to finish. They go into their OneNote, they type out things. And when I get a moment, okay, I go in and read what they typed and I'll reply back to what they said. And it'll tell you what I said in purple, because that's my favorite color. And it'll say what they said in whatever color their business is. So I can see who said what, and we can always refer to things. All right. So if you haven't considered it, consider OneNote. And for you guys who have like a Samsung Note, you will never hear me say anything positive about an Android. I'm just going to tell you that's my bias, except this. So write it down, take a picture. All right. On your Samsung Note, you can get your little stylus and you can write in OneNote with your regular stylus pen and it will type it out for you. That's right. So iPhone, yeah, you got to do a little more to get that to happen. It's possible, but you can literally write your notes. If you're in class, just write them. Okay. Push the button and it will convert it to typed out for you. You then can send, you can PDF it, you can print it, you can email it to somebody. It's right there, permanent. All right. Does anybody use OneNote or an electronic notebook? Anyone? That one's normally not as popular as like a calendar. So I know. And there are some people who take notes and they type them, but sometimes you need the extra stuff. Sarah says she uses paper and a note. Sarah, go ahead and convert it over. You know, can't serve two masters. Go all the way electric. Okay. All right, that's Sharon. Great. Tanika, put that on your list as something to try. All right. If you don't like it, we get it, but it doesn't hurt. All right. Now, OneNote is for you to put notes. It is not for you to store things. Why? Because you can't put big stuff. You can put notes, you can put files, but after a while, that gets to be cumbersome. All right. So you do need an electronic file storage system. You guys already have one built in your phone. It comes to your phone. It's called a cloud. All right. But again, just like that electronic notebook, you can access it from anywhere. You can share the files or pictures with other people, and you can get stuff from other people. You can make it so that they can upload the things that you need without even having to be bothered. So again, Dropbox gives you 5 gigabytes of free space, as does a Google Drive. So please consider using those. Now I will tell you, you'll probably go, well, my storage ran out. Well, it's probably because you have stuff in there that is not business related. You have more than one email address. We all do. You can have multiple files, one for personal and one for work. But if you find that you're exceeding that free space, go through and clean out the stuff you don't need, or just make a new one with a new email address and share them to each other. You didn't hear that trick from me. All right. Moving right along. Now, we've talked about places to store things. Now we need to talk about storing you. Where are you located? So let's talk about office space. All right. And this is super important because some of you guys may have businesses where every now and then a client wants to meet with you. Well, if you're anything like me, A, I don't want people coming to my house. B, even if they did come to my house, I have this chair and it is like magnetic. I don't know if you call it magnetic. It attracts clothes, especially fresh clothes that come out of the dryer. I don't know how they get there, but they stay there for a really long time. So I don't want people coming to my house. All right. I don't want people knowing where I live. You can find out anything on the internet, but when it comes to my business, I don't want people necessarily hanging out at the house. All right. So for that reason, you guys may not be at the point to where you can afford or want to pay for a whole office space. It took me a while before I decided to move into an office space. And then COVID happened. And I was like, okay, I see you. Somebody was trying to tell me I did not need to pay for an actual office space. So let me give you guys two different options in case you haven't heard about this that will make you be more organized and look more professional. Number one is a virtual office. Has anyone ever heard of a virtual office? If so, put it in the chat if you've heard of a virtual office. And while you're saying yes or no, all right, Jasmine, do me a favor, instead of raising that hand, type it in the chat so you don't pop up on the screen. I appreciate you because you're quick on that raise your hand button. Okay. But that way on the recording in the little thing, your name comes up. And I don't want anybody Googling Jasmine Smith trying to find her personal address because she doesn't have a virtual office. Okay. Oh, somebody said they have one, but most people said they didn't. So let me tell you what it is. All right. And I would say, Miss Liska, since you have one, you can add in if I miss somebody, okay, or if I miss something. But a virtual office keeps your personal address personal. And what happens is it gives you an actual physical address. So people can mail things to you that you can put on correspondence. So people really think you're there. You can open a bank account with it and you can receive your mail and your packages. And a lot of them, if you, depending on the package you pick, you can tell them, I don't ever want to go there to pick my mail up. I would like for you to take my mail and scan it. They open your mail and they scan it, and you get an electronic copy of every piece of mail you got, which means you don't have to be running up there to get it. Now, they don't destroy it unless you tell them to, but typically they put it in a package and then you can go and pick it up like once a month. But now you can get all the things that you need without having to drive all the way to the office. It's pretty cool. And what's neat is, get this. I know you may say, you guys may be all around the country, all right? But these physical addresses, they tend to pick the best parts of town. So the one I have on the screen is in Dallas. It's on Commerce Street. This is a real business. It's called physicaladdress.com. You can go to physical address and they have things all across the country. Country, excuse me. But if you're from Dallas, you automatically know that Commerce is located right downtown. So if you are looking or checking me out as a business and you see my address is in Commerce with a suite number, you automatically think, hey, she's legit. She's downtown. Now, hopefully you don't just drive by and try to, check on me in my office, but it automatically makes your office look more professional. So consider that. And here, this is everything in this PowerPoint. I double checked last night and the night before to make sure the prices were up to date. Now, they're subject to change. They could have changed them this morning, okay? But this information here is fresh off of their websites, okay? So it is $9.99 for you to get a physical address, and they are not just in Dallas, they're all over the country. So I'm not sure where you guys are. Now, see, Sharmika says, hey, they'll even forward it to her, okay, for a shipping fee. And she actually uses physicaladdress.com. See how this works? So consider that to get you a virtual office, all right? Now, sometimes there is somebody who wants to meet you in person. No worries. We have that handled. Why? Because there's a certain thing called co-working spaces. What you do, and they're all over the place. And if you're in a smaller town, look at your libraries and look at your libraries and look at your government buildings. They often will be affiliated and they will refer you to a co-working space. And what'll happen is they come to meet you and you rent the office. You can rent it for a day. You can rent it for the week. You can rent it for the month, depending on what you need. And a lot of times when you rent, they may have conference rooms. They may have AV rooms. They may have webinar space. And so your rental fee will include, depending on what you pick, all these different things. So you can come in and say you want to pitch for some funding, okay? Normally you may go to that person, but say it's a room of investors. You don't want them in your living room, okay? Go rent you a co-working space for maybe $20 for 4 hours, depending on it. Maybe you need to go a little higher end. The chairs are all nice. They tend to have coffee stations. It's plants and greenery everywhere. You're going to look like $1 million. There's a doorman. Oh, are you here to see Dr. Lewis? Just a moment. Let me page her for you. I'll have her come grab you. Okay. Or, hey, such and such will walk you to her office. It looks totally legit. Now, most people will know it's a co-working space, but it's okay because you at least have the mentality to get a co-working space, and they can be shared, or you can have your own private space that you rent regularly, and you can rent monthly, weekly, daily. And again, they have meeting rooms. So for those of you in Dallas, Texas, I want to share something great with you, okay? And what I want to share with you is that Dallas College not only puts on these incredible, okay, free entrepreneur speaker series, but we had the pleasure, and although I don't work for them, I work with them. We had the pleasure of opening the DCVC, which is a co-working space. It stands for Dallas College Venture Club. And there is a co-working space located off Corinth Street at the Bill J. Priest Institute. And you go in, it's on the second floor, and they've got these very desks where you sit at a desk. It's got the big monitors, 2 monitors built in. You just plug your laptop in, and you can see everything you need right there. The desk is a very desk, meaning that you can sit or you can push a button and it'll rise so you can stand up so you're not sitting all day. If you need to take a meeting or a call, then they have webinar booths that are soundproof that you can go in and take your phone call. They also have lounging areas and a coffee bar and all those other things. All right. And if you're a member, then there may not be a charge depending on when you get in. So I don't want to quote pricing. I do just want to tell you to reach out, and I'll make sure to send this information out to you guys. But I do want you to reach out if you're interested in a co-working space, because sometimes you just can't get work done at home, especially next week. Does anybody know what next week is in most cities around the country? What's next week? Anybody in the chat? Or people are rolling in. You just thought I said it started at 6:40. So anybody know what happens next week? Spring break. That's right. So how much work are you going to get done when you got to work, but the kids are like, but mama, I'm hungry. But mama, I'm hungry. And I love it when people say, well, I mean, do you really need to put your kid in daycare? I mean, you work from home. Yeah, you do. Okay. So sometimes just being around other professionals makes a difference, and it's a good way to network. That's correct. Because when you're in there, you start talking to the person next to you. Maybe they do photography, you do graphic design. Now you have a collaboration. Okay. So consider that. And DCBC was running a special, and they still may be, where it was no charge for you guys to come in and try it out. Okay. That one I did not double check. But I will tell you, it's awesome and it's really nice, and they have beautiful artwork that they change out. So check out the Dallas College Venture Club at Bill J. Priest for some co-working space. All right. Now, we've done a lot with organization. Let's talk about communications. All right. And I'm going to double check just to make sure I haven't missed anything in the chat, because you guys are doing everything in the chat, and I appreciate that. But let's talk about how we communicate. All right. Your business email address. You saw a question on there that said, that asked, true or false, you're hesitant to do business with somebody with a Gmail. Well, I got to see all y'all's registrations. We know most of y'all have a Gmail, okay? And it's not to say that you shouldn't. Yours might be prettypersonsbakery@gmail.com. Well, I know you're a bakery. It looks pretty legit. But if I don't know you and you're trying to solicit me, am I really comfortable giving you my business? I'll give you an example. All right. I used to have a pharmacy client. His email was Outlook, and he didn't understand why every time he emailed people, they didn't respond. Okay. Do you know how many emails I get trying to peddle pills to me, especially those little blue diamond shaped ones? So obviously they probably thought, even though you said you were a pharmacy because you ended in Outlook, that you weren't a real pharmacy. And people don't play with their personal information. So it is so easy to get a business email address, and it doesn't have to cost you anything. So on the screen, I have for you something. You're going to get a copy of this. I'm going to tell you how you can get a copy of this. But on the screen, I have for you some hosting companies where you can get an email address for little or nothing. The key to it is, before you can have something that says, like mine says, at oxygeninc.com. But before I could get that, I had to own the domain. The domain is the .com part, or anything after that X. That's the domain. That's how people know you are official. So Zoho Mail will allow you to have one, but if you don't have a domain, then they'll let you have 5 free business email addresses, but they're going to end in @zohomail.com. Well, it's the same thing as saying you have a Hotmail. So I don't recommend that. I recommend you actually getting a real domain and doing it so that your business is consistent. And I need you to be careful when you get your domain, because a lot of people, I have a client, I love her to death, but the name of her business is really long. Such and such a hair and makeup studio, DFW. I'm not about to type out all of that every time I send an email. That's a lot. Her whole name, then Nails and Makeup Studio, DFW.com. It's going to type that. But she didn't think about that. She went and was so excited. I got a website. I can get an email. But she didn't realize that whatever your domain is what your email has to be. All right. So here are some options for you to get an email, but you have to buy a domain first. So let's talk about the whole domain piece. And what's the difference between a domain and a website? We're going to talk about websites, but a domain is where you put the website. Does not mean that it is a website. Imagine you're building a house. I'm sure I've got a realtor or two on this call. A domain is like having a lot. I bought lot 7. All it is some dirt. There's no house built on that. It's dirt. It's lot 7, but it belongs to you. So anytime we say lot7.com, that is yours. That is the domain. Once you start building a house on it, that's the website. You don't have to build a house on it. You can have that domain to sit there just because. As long as you have that domain and it belongs to you, then you can do whatever you want with it, including making email addresses. So here on the screen, I've got some really cheap domain places for you because people will try to get you. Ionos, that's hard to say for me, is $1, okay, to get a domain for most domains. And cheap domains is typically no more than about $10 to get a domain. So both of those are things you want to consider. But I got to tell you 2 things. Number 1, you have to be careful that people will spoof you. What I mean by that is I own oxygeninc.com. I don't own .net, .co, .org, or any of those. Because at the time, I didn't know. I bought the .com. Shortly thereafter, somebody else bought all the other ones and sent me an email and said, hey, I own these other ones. Do you want them? I'll sell them to you for $9.99. And I'm not talking about $9. $999. And it dawned on me that day. Not only did I miss my opportunity, that now I got to try to wait on them to forget to renew it. Okay. Which, by the way, I know when they expire, so I have it on my calendar to remind me to go in and buy it the day they expire from those people. Okay. But they could very easily advertise or say something on my behalf. And people would think, oh my goodness, this is such and such .org or .net. And they never would know that wasn't my email address. So if you're going to get a domain, consider not just getting the .com, but get the .com, get the .net, and get the .org. All right. So that nobody else can try to spoof you and have the same thing. We've all fallen, victim to that. You meant irs.gov, but you went to irs.com. Next thing you know, what you thought was free is $29.99. Right. Okay. Here's the second thing. Both of these people on the screen will, and cheap domain is a little bit better, but what will happen is they will sell you something for dirt cheap because next year you have to renew. So here's a screenshot where from ionos.com, the very first year, if you want the .org for this particular website, it's only $3. It's a set price, $3. For .coms, $1. But look how much it is when you go to renew. Now that's not a ton of money because some people will charge you way more than that. But I just want you to know, be careful and look at these things, no matter who you pick, because they will increase your price. But it doesn't take a lot. Go buy you a domain, and then you can set you up an email address for free through Google or through Zoho Mail. And again, you can have up to 5 email addresses on Zoho Mail at no charge. You just need a domain first. So I know what some of you guys are saying. But who wants a lot of dirt? I need a website, okay? So we got that. And we can get you to build a website. But I'm gonna tell you guys, there are hard websites to make, like Squarespace. And no, it's not really hard. You just have to kind of know what to do. But then there are template-based websites. And honestly, template-based websites are so easy to build. If you can make a PowerPoint or you can make a graphic on Canva, you can make a website. So there are things like Wix, okay? Wix will do all kinds of great things to get you in the door. And every month, you're going to pay $17 if you get their cheapest plan. And I know you can't, maybe your screen is big and you can read this, don't worry, you'll get a copy. But see those 4 little bitty things under that $17? You're not really getting a bunch for $17 a month. You got to go to 29, or the recommended one is $36 a month. That's a lot of money if you're not doing an online business. So I tend to tell people to try Zoho sites because you get way more than Wix's $17 thing for only $5 a month. That's right. Now, if you need multiple websites or something like that, think about it. You could have 3 different websites for Wix's one light version. All right. So look and see what you need because Zoho is packed with things. All right. For way cheaper. And you're going to hear Zoho a lot. So write that down because it can save you a ton of money. Just wait for it. All right. Now, your website looks great. I want to buy something from you. I need to call you. And when I call, I get your voicemail. And you're playing some music from, I don't know, the 80s or the 90s or some mumble rap. And I'm going to hang up because that's not a business that I'm trying to do business with. All right. I have concerns. So there's no reason why you cannot have a dedicated business line. So I know all of you guys know somebody with a Google Voice number. And while I was on a call 2 days ago, and they're like, don't use a Google Voice number because everybody will know it's a Google Voice number. It's okay because we know it's a Google Voice number. But what you have to remember is that Google also has Google Workspace, which is their professional Google Voice numbers. So now the stigma is not the same. But what it allows you to do is you can take and make calls from your laptop or your Gmail. You get unlimited text messages. You can forward one call to the next. They will transcribe all of your voicemails. So if you're busy or you're like me, you never check the actual voicemail, it'll actually send you an email with it written out. All right. So I mean, matter of fact, my Google just sent me one. You couldn't have asked for a better time than that. All right. And so you can record record calls in case you ever need it by pushing *4, and you can always switch it between phones. Okay. I had a client, and I'll tell you about that because I believe in real life experiences. I had a client that owned 3 different funeral homes. All right. And so they would fuss because after hours, somebody had to answer the phone. So you know what they did? Somebody sat at the funeral home all night and they took turns. Yeah, not gonna happen. So instead, we forwarded the main numbers, all 3 of the main numbers, to the one Google number. And everybody had a phone with the Google number. And if it was your night to be on call or your week to be on call, you would turn your Google number on. And it would ring on that person's phone. And then when you were off call, you turned it off. And the next person did it. And if the person, let's say you missed it, say you were really asleep because it's 2 o'clock in the morning, unfortunately for a funeral home, things happen all night, then it'll send you an email with the transcription of exactly what happens. And everybody would get the email. So they would know, oh, I need to go help here. I need to go help there. And better yet, you didn't have to play telephone and tell the person in Pleasant Grove what that would happen because you're in Oak Cliff. The email will go, you could send the email right to the person in Pleasant Grove and they knew it was about their funeral home. All right. So Google Voice is great. But in my opinion, Umail is better. So Google Voice is free. Umail has a little bit of money to it. But y'all, Umail gives you free phone numbers, just like Google Voice, but you can have more than one. It's free caller ID. But this is what I love about them. 3 things besides all the stuff on the screen. The first one is an auto attendant. You may be going, what's an auto attendant? So I'm going to stop because some of y'all are pretty experienced. In the chat, who has an auto attendant on their phone? Not who knows what it is, but who has an auto attendant? I'm listening. Anybody? Well, I have an auto attendant. When you call me, it says, for billing, press 1. For customer service, press 2. If you're calling about a promotion you saw recently, press 3. For more information on such and such, press 4. All right? So immediately when you hear that, what do you think? If you press 2, you're going to get billing. If you press 1, you're going to get the promotions. I'm making up numbers as y'all can tell. But when you press these things, you're going to get to different people. Guess what happens? They all go to my voicemail. Okay, one of them goes to my assistant's voicemail. Don't get me wrong, and I do have them broken out. But the point is that you would look like it's 10 people working there. How many people really work there? Not 10. So, and I honestly can set it up to forward to somebody else's calls. Like it is so cool. 2 other things I like about it. All right. Sometimes you need to leave a message for one specific person, but y'all keep playing phone tag. On Umail, you can set it up. So that if anybody calls from a certain phone number, you put the phone number in 972-333-3333. All right. When that phone number calls your phone, they get a personalized message that nobody else can hear. Nobody else. Nobody. So they are the only ones who heard that message. That way you can tell them what you need to tell them when they call back. You also can do it to be really nice. Because I have a friend who says, you never make time for me. So I just randomly started updating her message so that when she calls and I don't want to be bothered, I just let her go to voicemail. It's brilliant, y'all. It's brilliant because she was so sweet and she leaves me the longest message and I don't listen to it. I just read it when it comes on email. But you can do little things like that. Plus, it has smart greetings. So if you have the person in your phone book, it's my favorite customer, Miss Joanna, or Joanna from Hilltop Cupcakes, it'll actually say, hello, Joanna from Hilltop Cupcakes. Such and such is unavailable right now. Yada, yada, yada. People love the personalization. Now be careful because if you put anything not so great, it's going to read that out too. The mean lady who always cusses, that will come out when they call. Hey, hello, mean lady who always cusses. So you don't want to do that. All right. And the last benefit to Umail is sometimes you need to work at a time where you're off the clock. You need to tell somebody something, but it's 9 o'clock and you don't want to call them that late. With Umail, you can actually go into the system and input their number record a message, and it'll do what is called a quiet drop. It'll leave a voicemail in their voicemail, but their phone will never ring. That way, when they're ready, they'll see they have a voicemail message. You didn't disturb them and you still conveyed the message. It's wonderful when you really don't want to talk to somebody, okay, but you need to tell them something. So Umail is great because you got to be able to meet customers where you are. You can also leave customized messages and say, hey, I'm busy right now. And you can set that to play for a certain period of time while you're in a meeting, etc. So try Umail out. All right. Now, everything can be a phone call. Some stuff has got to be a conference call like this. So everybody knows about Zoom, but you may not know about Zoho meetings. Okay. And then I already told you about Google Meet, because Google Meet is actually included anytime if you're in a Gmail, it'll actually try to put Google Meets on it. Now, here's the problem with Zoom. And I know you guys have all seen it before. How long can you talk on a free Zoom meeting? Anybody know?
30 minutes.
Okay, somebody came off mute to say 30 minutes. All right, put it in the chat. But 30 minutes is what somebody said. It's actually a little bit longer than that. Does anybody know?
40.
40. Y'all, I have been on calls before and they be like, all right, we finna hang up. But everybody hang up and call right back in. How professional is that? That's not professional. So if you're gonna be on there, but we just needed to go for an hour. So I would encourage you to look into Zoho meetings, because it's got pretty much all the same things as Zoom has. It's actually got some new stuff. And it'll let you go for up to 100 people for 60 minutes. So if you need longer, it may not seem like much, but that's 20 extra minutes without having to pay $1. So consider Zoho meetings, all right? But both Zoom and Google cut you off at 40, 45 minutes. Now, I told you guys that I had somebody recording this particular meeting, and I'm hoping that he's still in here. But if you look on the participants list, does everybody know how to pull up the participants list? Really quickly, I want you guys to pull up all the people that are in the meeting, and I want you to tell me if somebody's name stands out. Put it in the chat if somebody's name stands out. Like there's a weird person in our chat. In our meeting list. Let's see who can get it right first. Anybody know? That's correct, Sharmika. My autopilot is in the meeting. That's who's taking the notes and doing all the things, so I don't have to do it. So there's something called Otter AI. You give it access to your Teams, your Google Meets, or your Zoom, and it will. And once you make a meeting, it automatically knows, hey, there's a meeting coming up today. You don't have to tell it. It joins your meeting right on time, and it takes notes. It captures real-time audio and notes. It'll tell you speaker number 1 said this. Speaker number 2 said this. And if you have an agenda, it knows who the speakers are. Or if your name is in the caption, like you know how you identify yourself, it knows Sharmika said, Q said, Jasmine said, and it'll say who said what. So if you're having discussion, it'll actually tell you who said what part. Now I'm gonna tell you why I love that, and that's one of my favorite features. Because it's one thing to just read it, but have you ever had to keep receipts? And I don't mean the kind you get from a store, but somebody all of a sudden has amnesia and they forgot they said something. Well, according to the autopilot at 2:15 p.m., such and such, you said the following. All right. And it's right there typed out for you. It's automated notes. And it actually shows the slide that you're on, and then the notes go underneath it. So there's no trying to figure out, well, which slide was this? What page was that? It's right there for you. All right. And it's free up to 300 minutes at a time. Like, in other words, you can do 30-minute meetings. So 30 minutes is all you get, but 30-minute meetings until you've saved 300 minutes worth of recordings. And so if you need more space, you delete something. But you're able to actually send that out to everybody who was in the meeting. Y'all, you can't beat it. Otter AI. My Otter is hard at work right now. So let's move on to marketing. And before I do, you guys have been asking questions as they came, but I don't want to go so fast. We've got about 30 minutes left. And I don't have that many more slides. But talk to me. Is there any questions about what we've asked, or you guys want to hold them to the end? Because I'm okay. I just want to make sure nobody has a burning question. I wish this was like an iPhone where I could see the little dots going, okay? No worries. But we're going to go on and we're going to talk about marketing. And I'm only going to give you a few things because the very last one of these speaker sessions is about business marketing. Greg Johnson, he's the CEO of Sage Integrated Marketing. He's going to come tell you a lot about minding your business when it comes to marketing. So let's talk about email campaigns. A lot of times we want to email people things, all right? But if it's coming from Gmail, they're not going to listen. Okay, I'm sorry, they might. But you want to be able to email all the people you come in contact with. There are a couple different options. I always encourage people to try MailChimp. You do have to be careful because it may end up in their spam, but a lot of times you can make really cute, interactive, gift-related type emails that come to life versus an old boring email. You can also do that on Constant Contact, but it does run $10 a month. But no matter who you choose to use, it is important that you make sure you don't violate these rules. You have to have permission to email people, and you can't have a misleading header information. And I know people do it because every day I wake up and there is some party promoter who is trying to tell me that James St. Patrick has invited me to a party. Okay. But James St. Patrick really didn't do that. That is illegal. All right. So you have to make sure that your header is correct. You have to make sure that you are saying this is an advertisement if you're selling something and include your address. And you have to tell them that there is a way for them to get out. And if somebody clicks unsubscribe, you gotta get them out of there within a reasonable period of time, or they may file a complaint. So you'll get a copy of this, but you also should have privacy policies, including in those emails, so they can always read to see if you're selling their information or what you're doing. So you'll get a copy of these slides, but here are, again, the links that tell you the rules for that. Now, I'm going to put this under emails, but it's really not emails. How often do people check their email? Some of y'all never. Like, I'm surprised you're here, okay? But what we always tend to check is we check our text messages, okay? So I have this under email campaigns, but it's really an alternate to an email campaign, and that is text messages. The average person looks at their text messages in 2 minutes or less. You can't say that about an email. So what I have on the screen for you is 3 different companies that are really popular for sending text messages, but I'm only going to talk about one because I think it's a little better than the others, but I need to tell you how text messages work so you don't get suckered, all right? So they give you a number that people can call. Sometimes people can dial. Typically it's 5 digits, and they'll say a keyword, and that keyword gets them enrolled. That's how they know it's you. So maybe everybody in Houston, Texas is using the keyword dog. But when they text dog and they use your special code 12345, they know that those are your customers. All right. Companies charge for that. So look for an upfront charge. And if they tell you you're going to have multiple keywords, make sure you know that you may have to pay $50 or $100 just to get that first part set up. That's often not disclaimed. Number 2, make sure that the text messages only count one way. What I mean by that is they may say, hey, you get 6,000 text messages. But if you have to text the person that says, oh, so let's say the person texts you, dog, they put 12345 in, that's one text message. Then you go to subscribe, hit Y or no. Okay, that's 2 text messages. Then the person hits Y. So then that's 3 text messages. Then you say, congratulations, you are now enrolled. To opt out, do this. That's 4 text messages. So you already used 4 on that one person just to sign them up. See how you can run out of text messages really quickly? So be careful and make sure that the incoming messages are free, because then that'll give you more outgoing messages. All right. So most companies will let you get incoming messages for free, but not all of them. So pay attention to that if they don't say free incoming messages, and watch it if they say free incoming SMS messages or free incoming messages. Because if your message is a reply to something that had a GIF on it or a video, then they just charged you for those messages. So the one I have on the screen for $20 a month, you get 6,000 messages. That's a lot. And you do get free incoming messages. But anything that has a picture to it counts as 3 messages. So that just cuts you from 6,000 down to 2,000. So if you want to show somebody this cake you're making or these cupcakes or whatever, pay attention, because every time you send that picture out, it's going to count as 3 messages. All right. But these are easy to get set up. And honestly, you're going to get a bigger bang for your buck off of text messaging. Okay. If you include a link or whatever, then you may from emails, especially with this day and generation. Now, let me talk about something that's pretty popular, and that's social media. All right. Everybody has social media, and there is a difference between your profile and your page. And the bad part is most of us have had a Facebook account forever. So we have all of our friends are there. So when we decide we want to make a business, okay, then we don't know how to start over because our friends won't like our business page. You know how that works. So you want to post everything on your regular page. Here's the problem when you don't have a separate business page. If I'm the first person, if I've never used you before, but I'm going to your personal page and I see your personal life intertwined with your business life, I'm going to judge you based on your personal life. This is one of my friends that I love dearly. Does home construction, remodeling top notch, builds furniture, restores stuff, etc. I had to beg him to get a professional page because on his page, the first thing you will see is an actual, I had to block out stuff. But the first thing it says is, I do not drink alcohol. I drank liquor and I get it from the liquor store. That was his first post. Okay. First post. All right. So if I see that, what am I thinking about the quality of your work? Maybe your work is great. Look at the second picture. It's an old car with some nice fuel and a bottle of Hennessy. By the time that I get to the third picture, okay, and I see this table, and even the table was gorgeous, I have a different thought in mind. I may be thinking, oh, he does good work, but he's not professional. So you know what that person is probably going to try to do? They're going to try to bargain him down, or they're not going to respect his time, or they're not going to treat him professionally because he doesn't come across as professional. So please, I realize you have a bunch of followers. Bug them to death if you need to, but get them moved over to your business page. It's the best thing you can do. All right. And besides, a good rule of thumb is to go in and put at least 10 scrolls worth of pictures. Just sit down and do it, even if they're all the same day. Because most people are not going to scroll back more than 10 times to see that you just put a bunch of meaningful pictures. Okay. To see that all of these pictures came from last month. But that's how you get your page started. So it looks authentic until you can get it going. All right. And some of y'all need help. You don't know how to make your stuff look good, but there are tools out there for you. So obviously you guys have probably all heard of Canva. Canva has a number of templates for you to go in. Don't try to create stuff yourself. Go in there and find something that's what you were thinking and just fill your stuff in. All right. And that is no charge. But if you just really need a flyer that's nice and you can't do it, please tell me you guys have heard of Fiverr. Fiverr is a marketplace. And it's funny because I'm going to share a story with you and I'll probably get killed for it later. But I had somebody who needed a logo and they tried to make a logo. And every time they brought it to me, I wrinkled my face up like, ugh. Okay. Because that's what I was thinking. Ugh. Okay. Then all of a sudden they came back to me and they had a beautiful logo. It was nice. And I was like, oh, you need to go make sure this is not copyrighted somewhere because this is somebody's work. This is professional. And the person was like, well, I searched it, but no, we had somebody on Fiverr to make it for me. It is now their official logo. And it's bad, y'all. It's bad. It's the good kind of bad. But you know what they did? They went on Fiverr. They paid the person $20. And for $20, the person says, I will work on your idea for 3 days. And when those 3 days were up, they had to decide what they wanted. And they sent them the ones they could print, the ones they could use online, the ones they could go and put on t-shirts, different shade variations, the whole thing for $20. All right. So don't stress over something that's going to take you hours. Know when to fold them. Put your money in and pay for it and let it go. But now let's keep going. All right. We're going to keep going because we need to talk about your social media. You cannot post something once, okay, and then never go back to it again. You've got to build up your followers. So the best thing for you to do, I have something called Marketing Mondays, okay? Marketing Mondays is also Money Mondays because money got to come first. But I actually go through on Mondays and I have my clients to schedule all their social media on Monday. Notice I said schedule. So they decide what it's going to look like and they go in and they use a scheduling tool to go in and say, hey, on Monday, I want to do this. On Wednesday at 10 o'clock, I want to do this. On Thursday, I want to do this. And these are the platforms I want it to go on. And then they walk away and forget it. And you can do that for like a whole, like some of the services that are free, not so far in advance. But you can do that for like the whole month. Okay. Or you can at least do it once a week. That way you do it when you have time. When you're sitting there watching Tubi movies, you can be scheduling social media. It doesn't go out that day. Example, if you know that spring break is coming, but it's January, go ahead and put your spring break specials in there on social media and it'll just launch the day you tell it. So you can pay for Canva Pro because they do scheduling up to 8 platforms for $119 a year. Or you can use Zoho Social and publish on 7 different channels. Some channels I've never even heard of, Magdestron, something like that, but do 7 different channels. So a channel is a platform. So you can do Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, all of those for free 99. Zoho Social. And it'll actually pull all your analytics. So what you see is an actual real example of this is how many likes I got, this is how many comments, this is how many people saw it, who clicked on it. You can see everything in one place. And if you ever decide you want to run that again, You just hit reload and it just, what date you want to do it, and bam, it's there. All right. So Zoho Social. All right. Now, business cards. All right. I asked you guys a question on the poll about your business cards. I know it's cute to go to Vistaprint and get you 20, 50 business cards and pay $30 and they all nice. Nobody's keeping your business card. I hate to tell you that. And Haystack is ripping you off. I'll tell you about that more on the next slide. All right. There are digital business cards out there right now. I know some of y'all are gonna go, I know I bought one. I have a dot. I didn't even get it out before somebody put it in the thing. How much does dot cost? Money. And you got to get by somebody's phone to tap it. Somebody's got to scan it. Well, just FYI, okay? Camcard and Haystack, $3.99. And Hello, but I don't like Hello as much. Camcard, somebody gives you a paper card. You take your phone and you scan their card. You put it on a thing, use your camera, it scans it. It automatically transcribes all their information, okay, into, like, it types it out. And then it saves it. So if you ever need it, it's like it filed all your different business cards. But it has a digital one that you can send back. I prefer Haystack. The reason I like Haystack over Camcard is because I have 20 different business cards, depending on if it's some organization I'm in, it's church, it's business, and if sometimes I just want to change my hair. Sorry, okay? And so I can send them that, but I can send it by them scanning my QR code. I can shoot it to them as a text. I can put an iPhone next to an iPhone the exact same way you do a dot card, okay? I can send it out, but it also gives me a little link. So I can include it on all of my emails and everything else. But here's the best part about Haystack. When I send you the email or you get my card, when you open it, there's a button that says save to contacts. It automatically goes into your phone. You didn't have to type a thing. And then it says, do you want to send your card back? So then that person can type in their information and send it back to you. And now you have a contact. And every time I change my picture, if they've got the Haystack on their phone, it changes my picture on the phone. So think about those of you who have an issue paying your phone bill and you change the phone number every time the phone bill is due. You remember those? It'll actually update your business card for you. You can't do that with a paper card. You can't do that with a dot card unless you're right there by that person. Okay? Haystack will do that for you. Check it out and it's free. Okay, for individuals. All right. Now, if you just have to have a paper business card, if you have to have paper anything, y'all, you need to be using Got Prints. They ship nationwide, but they are located in the greater Dallas area. All right. And their prices are unbeatable. Go and find something you want or bought from Vistaprint, and then go to Got Print and check out the price differences. All right. And then for those of you who have trade shows and you need those big stand-up banners or you need to step and repeat, there's nobody better than stickersandbanners.com. It throws you off starting off talking about stickers, but honestly, they do great stickers, but they make cheap banners. You can get them and they will, if you get it in by 10 in the morning, they print and ship the same day for next day delivery. Okay. Or if you're in Dallas, you just drive to Irvin and pick it up. The prices can't be beat. Okay. And neither can the service. All right. Before we get to our last topic of finance, I want to talk to you about those of you who on your social media, you have a bunch of different needs, but on Instagram, you can't embed a link. Or maybe you're not ready for a full website. Let me tell you about Linktree. Everybody goes, why do you love Linktree? Easy, because that's how all of y'all got here. Every one of you, well, maybe not all of y'all, but most of you guys registered through a Linktree because I'm working for it with the vendor and we need to change information too often for you to have to go and get somebody to do it. And even though I can do my own website because I use Zoho sites and it's super simple, sometimes I'm in the car and I need to add something in and I can do it from my phone. So consider Linktree because you can add in pictures, links, videos, music. I mean, like you can do messages, all kinds of things. Try out the Linktree. It's, the Linktree/speaker series and see all the fun things that you can do because it's easy. And how much is it? Free. Okay. It is free. So if you're not ready for a website, you bought your lot, you got a domain. Maybe you did, not yet. Linktree is your best friend. So now we're going to talk about finance before we wrap things up because I'm only going to talk for another 5 minutes before I make some announcements and we go to Q&A. All right. People always want to know what's the difference between a CPA and a bookkeeper. And the answers are really different. A CPA is really the person who's going to help you keep things in track for your tax purposes and help you interpret that part to make sure you don't get hit and you're paying the right amount of taxes, but not more than what you need. A bookkeeper is just that they keep your books. All right. I'm not saying you don't need a bookkeeper, but some of you may not be in a place where you can afford a bookkeeper. So most of us say, oh, I'm going to use QuickBooks. Well, QuickBooks will quick, fast, and in a hurry increase their price on you. Everybody signs up because it's half off. For how long? 3 months. And then you start paying regular price. So, and then you still don't use QuickBooks because you don't know how. I'm being honest. So here's an alternative to you. If QuickBooks has turned you off and you canceled it because you didn't want to pay the money, the answer is Zoho Books. Can anybody see on the screen how much Zoho Books costs? $0. Zero until you have more than $50,000 in revenue running through your business. So while I'm sure some of y'all are balling $200,000, $300,000, for my people who are $50,000 or less, look up Zoho Books. Just like QuickBooks, different interface, different colors, same productivity. All right. And now platform payments. On that poll, I asked you guys how you felt about paying somebody using Cash App. And I meant that because that immediately turns me off when I got to Cash App somebody. It's one thing if I'm standing right by you and I'm about to buy something I can see, but if I got to send it to you and I don't know you and have to pre-order, I'm probably not going to do it. Your customers are thinking the same thing. So I would love for you guys to consider a couple things that go in both directions. The first one is you paying out. If you're collecting money by PayPal, consider getting the PayPal card because they're looking at how much money is going in and out. And even though your credit may be terrible, they will actually help you to establish better credit because you can start using your PayPal card. It's like a prepaid card. They know what you have, but they are willing to give you more chances and actually help to build your credit with that. And you get cash back. So if all your money is coming in PayPal, just use that PayPal card to build your business credit, okay? But also to get the cash back, all right? Now, again, I believe that everybody should have a business credit and debit card and a separate banking account, all right? But you need to make sure that you allow folks to pay you where they are. Yes, you got to pay transaction fees, but you wouldn't have made any money without that. And now for those of you who are like, oh, well, I use Cash App and Zelle, so I don't have to pay taxes. If you make more than $600 on any of those platforms, you have to pay taxes, all right? But consider allowing people to pay you by Apple Pay or to pay you, you know what I'm saying, with a credit card. Yes, it's 3% off, but if you're smart, you will figure out how to work your prices out so that you don't miss the money. And all right, and this is just more about the same thing, all right? The other thing is for you to consider if you have things that cost money, like let's say you make prom dresses, okay? Allow your people to have opportunities to pay in installments. And you may go, I need my money now. You will get your money now. Affirm, Afterpay, Klarna, when they say, hey, pay, even now, Google Pay, PayPal Pay, all those little things, Apple Pay, that allow you to break it in installments, you sign an agreement with the vendor. Now, they all work a little differently, but this is the gist, okay? You sign an agreement with that vendor. The person says, hey, I want to buy $100 worth of stuff. You go, okay, they say, I want to use Afterpay. Well, that company will front you and say, we're going to give you $85. We took 15% off the top, okay? And then we're going to go after them for the money. Well, that's between them and Klarna or them and Afterpay. What did you get? $85. So you may be thinking, but I lost $15. You did. Okay, maybe you do an adjustment on your price to make some of that back. But the difference is you wouldn't have gotten that $85 if they didn't have installments. Think about it. So decide what works for you. All right, because you may find that you have more people willing to spend more because they didn't have to pay for it right then. Make sense? I'll tell you a really good way to think about it. How many times have you bought something because it was on sale, but you bought it with your credit card and took 6 months to pay it off? Did you really save money? No, but in your mind you did. So now let's talk about the grab bag while I wrap up, all right? The grab bag is a lot of things that every small business needs to find because it's something for you. The first one is on Shopify. Shopify tools. It does make you sign up with an email address, but it's free. And they have all these little things that you can use for your business, like a privacy policy generator, okay? A shipping label template, a refund policy generator, a barcode generator, a business loan calculator, like just little things. They even have a logo maker, and they're all free, okay? You do not have to pay to get them, and that is through Shopify. My next grab bag thing is, and I mentioned this earlier, if you want to move to the more professional side, step away from Google, Google email and go to Google Workplace. For $6 a month, they will give you Gmail, a drive, the meetings, calendar, chat, and documents and other things to do. So you don't have to pay for like a Microsoft Office. Okay. And it's only $6 a month. But wait, what has been my favorite word of the day? Does anybody know what my favorite word of the day is? What I've said more than anything else today? What company do I absolutely love? Anybody? That's right, Jasmine. Jasmine, you pay attention. Zoho. All right. I don't know who named it that. And you can't worry. They have excellent customer service. They all over the country. So not even the country, they're all over the world. So don't worry about whether it's a foreign company or not. You can read all the fine print you want. But for me and my business, we're using Zoho because all the same things that Google is doing, okay, Zoho is doing for $3 a month. Did you hear me right? $3. So not only do you get emails, you get meetings, you get a storage solution, you get, all these other things, $3. But wait, there's more. Zoho has a plan called Zoho One. Zoho One. They give you 40 different apps for one low fee. It includes Zoho Books, but not the free version, the real version, the expensive version, okay? They give you like a DocuSign called Zoho Sign, not a little free version, but a real version, okay? You get the meetings, you get the emails, you know how I mentioned about using MailChimp for email campaigns? No, it's got its own email campaign piece, all right? Event management, forms, the website. Remember I told you that was like $5 a month? No, it's included in here. Somebody at Zoho may not be that good at adding, because whoever added this up and got to $37, I think their math was not mathing. But I'm not going to tell them. But I will, to be honest with you, the reason it's so cheap is because it's $37 per employee. So you have to get every single employee their own license. That's why it's so cheap. But how many of you guys have more than 1 or 2 employees? So isn't it still cheaper than paying $30 for QuickBooks and then paying $19.99 for Mobilo and paying, I'm just naming stuff. If all that's going to exceed, because all those are one user too. Zoom is what, $15.95 a month for one user. So it's gonna save you way more than buying the pieces individually and give you things you never even knew. And what's even better is because it's the same system, they talk to each other. So if I go and I have a client, when I go in my system and I put the client's information in, or I send them an email, it'll automatically make a whole profile for them. It tells me all the emails they've used, all the emails I sent them. Did they open the email? What their invoices are? How much they spent with me? If they owe me any money, like it puts everything together because it's all the same system. Zoho One. All right. And if you don't take my word for it, that's fine. Go to Capterra. Capterra is who compares different business solutions against each other. So you can say, I need somebody to help me with bookkeeping. All right. It'll name all the bookkeeping softwares and it'll compare them to one another and tell you the ratings, show you the interface, tell you the pros and the cons. Capterra, anytime you are making a decision on a tool or a resource for your business, Capterra is where you want to go. So what are your next steps? Okay. What do you need to take with you? All right. Your finances. How can you better track them? And what additional payment options can you provide your customers? Communications. How can you appear more professional in your communications? And what can you use to automate and reach your customers easier? Marketing. What tools can you use to better market your business? And make sure you carry what? A digital business card with you at all times. And then lastly, and definitely not least important, is organization. How can you create an electronic means to access all of your files and information remotely? All right. And then please do yourself a favor and research integrated small business solutions. So I'm going to open it up for Q&A. I'm going to take a few depending on what we have, but I got to tell you guys some really good information. Okay. So don't leave. Anybody got something with Q&A wise? Drop it in the chat. And actually go ahead and load up the chat with any questions you have. I'm going to do the announcement so that I can come back to the chat in case anybody needs to drop. So go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. And I'm just going to go through a few more things. So the first thing I'm going to go through is I told you guys that this is a 9-part speaker series. We do it in the spring, sometimes in the summer and in the fall. This spring is 9 people. We just had a wonderful class with Elle Carter, CEO of Out of the Box Solutions, and she talked about your business structure fundamentals. Tonight, I talked about small business tools and resources. But next Tuesday, there are going to be not 1, but 2 people coming to talk and they're going to be in Dallas and Atlanta talking to you about Financial Literacy 101, how not to be a sucker. Okay. It is so common when I get a new client, they will tell me about all these sales that they're making, but they're not making any money. It's because they don't understand how money works. Everyone who attends that course gets a free workbook to help you work through your finances and how you're spending so that you can see and learn how money works. Free for just attending. And they're not selling you anything. That's not how it works. Okay. Then we're really going to hit our food industry and beverage industry people kind of hard. We've got on March 26th, We've got Brent Reeves, who's the president of Smoky John's Barbecue. Y'all have all had barbecue for Smoky John's before, meeting us in person, okay, for a dinner workshop where you're gonna get to eat some free barbecue. Okay, it's really not barbecue, but it is barbecue. I kind of went a little higher than barbecue when I made the menu. So come on out because it's good food. And we do have something for vegans and vegetarians. But he is going to literally tell you about running and growing your food and beverage business, something that's restaurant bound or stationary. Then 2 days later, we've got Michelle McDonald, the CEO of a la carte catering and cakes. Sister is bad. She has catered a Super Bowl. Okay. When Super Bowl came to Dallas, they chose her company to cater. She's going to talk to you about, it's called Savoring Success. Okay. How to scale and navigate challenges in your catering business. And that's for anybody in a food truck, doing food delivery, any type of catering or mobile type things. You want to be there for Michelle. Then on April the 2nd, and all of these are in person, we have got this little bundle of joy. Okay. And I say that like it's a baby, but no, this lady is just like amazing. She's going to make you happy. Her name is Raffinay Lawan or Raffinay Sanders. She's going to talk about consumer packaged goods. Those are things that go on the shelf, things that are not for right now consumption, although you might eat them in the car. And today, she actually presented to, I just went blank, the Cute store, not, it's going to come to me in just a second, but she was brought in to present to the entire company because she is an African-American female who works in she's able to get products in on the shelves in all of these stores. Central Market, but I couldn't think of that to save my life. Okay. And so she was presenting at Central Market for Women's History Month. They brought her in because she owns Inspire Brands Management. She helps people get their products on store shelves. She's going to teach you all about that. All right. So those three are going to be in person, March 26th, March 28th, and then April the 2nd. Then we're going to follow up with being bankable. That is another way for saying how you can get some money and funding. That one is going to be virtual in April as well. We've got one more in person, and that's because you just can't do this one online. And that's business and dining etiquette. That's going to be on May the 7th. We've got Alyssa Allen, who is the CPO or Chief Protocol Officer of Your Presence is Important. And she's going to teach you about business and dining etiquette. And you may go dining etiquette. What does that have to do with the tea in China? A lot. Because think about this, every time people want to talk business, they say, hey, do you want to meet for coffee? Would you like to go out to lunch? What you do and say and how you conduct yourself at that meeting can be the difference between earning somebody's business and them walking away. And then last but not least is business marketing with Greg Johnson, who's going to tell you how to put your best foot forward when it comes to marketing. So again, make sure you go onto the Linktree/speaker series. Now remember, there is a dot in Linktree between the TR and the EE, but Linktree/speaker series and register for Financial Literacy 101, How Money Works. And because you're attending tonight, I have not sent the emails out. I have not started the promotions. Anyone in the food and beverage industry, it is now live for you guys to go and register for those events that are in person. And those go quick because I can only cater for so many people and I only have so much space. So go on over there and sign up now and tell the people that you know, if it's somebody who's selling chicken salad at the beauty salon, or they're selling plates door to door, or they are at the food market downtown, tell them they want to make sure to go ahead and sign up. Sign up is live now. And also for the people in the food and beverage industry, we've got Cultivate Small Business. That is an actual 12-week fully virtual business program, okay, that is going to teach people in the food and beverage industry some business acumen about making sure that they're making sound financial decisions and they understand cash flow and statements and all those things so they can be successful. And get this, anyone, you have to apply, and it's going to be difficult to get in because they can only take so many people. But obviously, we want to give you guys access, and I'll tell you what that means in a minute. But anyone who gets in the program and finishes, okay, they get a capital funding grant, money. And there's also opportunities during the course to earn additional funding for your business. They're doing it in Dallas, Miami, and in Philadelphia. So if you're in any of those areas, you want to go to the Linktree. Everything's on the Linktree. Linktree/speaker series with a dot between the R and the E. And you want to read the criteria and see if you qualify for the Cultivate Small Business Program. Applications don't actually release until March 15th, but you guys are going to get, advanced information, and I'm going to send out the application link as soon as it's available. And if you need help in any way filling out your application, we have got a food and beverage boot camp, okay, called Start Pivot Grow. All right, for people who need help right now with fixing their restaurant and fixing their food truck, and they will even help you do your application okay, for the Cultivate Small Business Program, all for free. And then for everybody, whether you're food and business or not, Dallas College has a DCVC Growth Lab. What that means is it's a one-on-one personal advising for your business. You go in and you say, hey, I want to start a business. This is my idea. They'll kind of make you a roadmap on what you need to do and tell you some resources that are available to you. All right. And so no matter what stage you're in, maybe you want to scale your growth. Maybe you need an exit strategy. All right. All of this information is on the Linktree. They will help you develop your business model, understand how to reach your financial goals, and then basically be able to tell you what your revenue is telling you. Like, how do I understand this? One-on-one personalized for you. All right. So I know I've said a lot, and I know that we are at 7:32, so I am out of time. All right. But I want to make sure that anybody who has questions can get those questions answered. So I am going to allow you guys to stay on. But if not, if you don't have anything that, because I don't see any questions in the chat. I don't know if I broke the chat or what. But any questions that you guys have, if you want to stay on, you can. If not, I will let you guys go. I'll turn off the recording so that you guys who want to ask questions can feel maybe a little bit more comfortable. Give me a couple days, and everything that we talked about today, once I get my notes from my autopilot and my summary, you're going to get an email. But I'm gonna tell you the truth. All I'm gonna do on the email is tell you go to the Linktree. It's all going to be on the Linktree. Thank you guys for coming. I sincerely appreciate you. And I hope you just got set up for success. All right. Bye, guys, unless you want to stay on. Oh, thank you. Everybody was saying thank you.